Hi everyone, welcome to the MWIS Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. A very happy new year to you from us here at MWIS. Now I know you know the rules regarding staying local at the moment. Let's hope that things do get better in the weeks and months ahead. Terrain widely frozen in the short term across the mountains, cold patterns continuing well into early January, typically easterly winds developing through this week, western mountains then largely dry with that sort of pattern. All becomes a bit more complicated though once we get to the middle of next week. Let's dive in with a look at the freezing level chart. Keep an eye on the date in the bottom of the screen, and as we go through Saturday, you're down at 200 to 400 metres as a typical freezing level. So the terrain extensively frozen across the highlands, a bit of thawing on the lowest sunlit slopes, maybe up to 400 or 500 metres across England and Wales where you get the sunshine. As we go onwards in Saturday night, frost forms into most valleys and glens again. Temperatures well down across the Scottish Highlands, -10 wouldn't be ruled out in a few spots. Sunday's freezing level may be a touch higher, up to about 600 metres or so according to this chart. Soon going back to frost at low levels in the evening time though, and it's a similar sequence as we go onwards into next week. I'll skip on day by day. You may be up to about 600 metres as the highest freezing level that we get, but generally most terrain frozen or part frozen to lower slopes from overnight, partially thawing during the daytime. A situation where daytime maxima in towns and cities are typically around 3 to 5 Celsius, so it's not what you might call an extensive big freeze, but it's a cold pattern that does take us onwards into next week, and it's cold enough for snow showers and flurries to fall to lower slopes. This is by the time we get to Wednesday daytime, and not a great deal has changed. It's still very low freezing levels. This is how that plays out on the Synoptic charts in the days ahead. Saturday here, and we've got a north to northeasterly flow. Some showers that are typically out over the North Sea, which a few will run inland across more northern and eastern districts of England and Scotland. More maybe just around the north coast of Scotland as well, and a few grazing the west coast of Wales. But away from those immediate coasts, generally many places in for a dry and sunny day. A few banks of cloud and fog drifting around on some slopes at times, but away from that the air is very clear, having come down from the north. Now, high pressure just stations itself further to the north as we go onwards through the weekend. That wind flow then turning more east by northeasterly, strongest from southern Scotland southwards, so be aware of that chill factor across the higher tops in the Lake District, the Pennines and across Wales. Some showers will run inland from the North Sea again, moving in toward the Pennines around the Cheviots and borders, and one or two drifting across North Wales as well. Largely dry with some sunshine toward the western side of Scotland and for much of the Lake District. Now, not much will change for a few days forwards. High pressure broadly toward the north. That general easterly flow is prevailing. Some showers and flurries will come in from the North Sea across the eastern side of the Pennines, the Peak District, a few reaching Wales and across the Scottish borders as well. Much of the Highlands, though, under high pressure in for a dry and clear day. A few ribbons of fog at low levels, a few banks of cloud, maybe just higher up, but plenty of sunshine around. A cold start with frost into the glens and staying cold throughout the day. Tuesday, it looks all very similar. Precise detail in terms of where the bands of showers coming in from the east lie will remain to be seen in the days ahead, basically, but the idea of just areas of snow showers coming into the Pennines, across the Peak District as well, and a few into Wales, very few of those further north into Scotland, generally still underneath slack high pressure, so lightest winds for the Highlands, strongest of that chilly easterly wind across England and Wales. Now that pattern just starts to break down a bit by Wednesday, and this is where things start to become more complicated. Then a slack pressure situation by then. An area of low pressure around Iceland is starting to drift southwards again, and the high is just separating slightly. So light winds with one or two showers and flurries, maybe just watching for something drifting into the northwest of Scotland with that front. Temperatures still stay cold, and there's no real indication of any milder air getting into this pattern, despite the pressure scenario just changing slightly. Most likely, everything just stays dragging colder air masses in, even as we go further forwards. So although things become uncertain, this is roughly where we think we go later in the week. High pressure just reshuffling itself a bit, still centred out toward the west, forming a block of anything coming in from the Atlantic. An area of low pressure is looking likely to sink back southwards across Britain again, originating around Iceland, and that may just bring some fresh snowfalls into Scotland by Thursday or Friday. As the wind flow is northerly, the air mass stays cold. And just to run on the general idea toward next weekend, it's possible that briefly a slightly less cold westerly just gets in temporarily, but anything of something that you might call tentatively mild looks short-lived as that low pressure system sinks southwards and opens the door once again by the start of the following week, that's on the 11th of January, to a more east or northeasterly flow. High pressure is trying to recenter itself again around Iceland, Greenland and the Norwegian Sea. That's the general view that we've got then as we head onwards up to the middle of the month, that there's a big block of high pressure away to the north and northwest. It's a classic pattern for creating cold weather patterns across Britain. It always just stops that Atlantic milder influence getting in. Low pressure toward the south, the prevailing flow coming out of the northeast, and the scope during that period for something more extensively cold, even to lowland areas of Britain. So the possibility of some snowfalls a bit more widely if everything comes together with the pattern that is developing by that point. We shall keep you up to date with how that goes. You can follow all our content, of course, every day on the MWIS website. That's been your Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.